Good morning. Time for another Sunday edition. Down from the office, you can see some of the stuff hanging on the back wall there. My little shepherd girl with her lamb and the sheep beside her. As I said, that's one of my favorite images of the church. It's not what the piece is about. It's just a shepherd girl, but that's how I envision the bride of Christ. Anyway, today's readings are Jesus visiting Martha and Mary, so it's all about hospitality. And that's what I'm going to be preaching on, so I'll just share with you some highlights from the homily. That you and I want to be people of hospitality. And there are really two layers, so I don't know if I can get through all of it in a 5-minute jaunt, because I think I had about a 10 to 12-minute homily. But we look at hospitality, and there's the first, there's something on the screen. The first obvious layer of hospitality is how we welcome people into our homes, into our churches, into our communities, and the desire to get to know the stranger so that they might become the neighbor. That's really kind of the shift that takes place. Is that, last week's reading of the Good Samaritan tells us who's our neighbor? Well, everybody's our neighbor. There is no non-neighbor out there. Everybody is a potential neighbor. You got to measure the goodness in their hearts and different things. I mean, we don't know about the goodness of the man that was robbed, but the Samaritan didn't care. He was going to help the man no matter what, because he had nothing left but to die. And so that man was willing to help him. But we have Martha and Mary, two sisters. We don't know where Lazarus is. He's not in this gospel episode. He appears in John. And they welcome Jesus to their home. So they must be very good friends, because to eat with a non-male to eat with a male who's not a relative is really the exception in Jewish culture. You didn't have that type of mixing. So, it never tells us Jesus is a cousin or anything like that. So, profound friendship that he shares with the three of them, which only the two we see. And Martha's, of course, busy with all the details of hospitality. She's preparing the meal, preparing the table, setting the room. Mary's listening, which is layer 2 of hospitality. But layer 1, we need a lot more of that, because hospitality is disappearing in our culture. People on the right often get accused of being xenophobic. And I think, it's just all strangers are not equal. We vet people instantly. Every one of us does. Every single human being. Instantly based on sight, and then listening, and then trying to get to know the person. But we instantly look at the sight of people, and that gives us judgments. Like, if somebody was to carry a gun into a building, most people would react with fear or hostility. That unless you're a law enforcement person, nobody is supposed to be open carrying in a society, have a gun in their hands. So that's just an example where instant sight tells you you better be concerned. The real key is overcoming a lot of these cultural fears that have predominated societies for a long time. And they're all around the world. They're just not unique to the United States, where we have prejudice and bias based on limited experience. Because, come on, let's be honest, that limited experience is how all the old classic racist or semi-racist jokes of the past used to work. That we met enough Irish who were drunks, enough Mexicans who were lazy, enough French who were lovers, enough Italians who were eaters to make jokes about it, or Poles who were stupid. Probably not, but that's just a stereotype, as I said. But that's how the jokes worked. That something gave us cultural belief to make that sound funny. I think for the Poles, it was the unfortunate event of fighting the Nazis with knights in World War II, that was really not going to work. Through no fault of their own, that was the best technology some of them had, so kudos to them for fighting. That should be the way we looked at it. That was extremely foolhardy, but very brave. But anyway, we want to be more hospitable to people, welcome them into our lives, into our communities. Get back to being polite and civil. Common courtesy, holding the door open for somebody. Yes, no, thank you, please, may I, can I help you? All those simple things are part of common courtesy and are really part of cultural hospitality. And when they disappear, it makes us much less polite and patient with one another. It makes us more irritable and more kind of focused on ourselves. Anyway, let's say this is one of a series on talks on hospitality.